What's up, John?
Hey there, Burgess. How are we doing, dude? Happy Thursday.
Good. Happy Thursday.
I feel like we're
You
back in the
making-
lab.
Back in the lab.
Yeah, back in the lab. We had such a good time with Professor Z on Tuesday, man.
I know, that was a blast. I really enjoyed having him on the show. But
Yeah, how
this
was your
show
day?
too, freaking, I'm also excited about. We have another really cool guest. Freaking, our last guest canceled on us. That's too bad. But we have a guy we've been trying to schedule anyway, so we got him in tonight, and we're super excited for dinner. I'm sorry, I cut you off. Freaking, I had some chicken, and it was delicious.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I went to start making dinner for my kids, and then we realized that the gas is out. So
The gas is
had to-
out.
yeah, the gas is out. So I had to run and try to go get me something real quick, so that way I didn't have to cook anything, during the stream. And turns out that they're out of everything most everywhere. So I got these things called baleadas, and baleadas are kind of like flour tortillas with refried beans, egg, and cheese, and then some like deep fried. Most people call them empanadas, right? So they're called pastillas. And then so my kids are set. We're good to go. Dude, happy Thursday. I'm excited for this, for real.
Oh yeah, happy Thursday. It's funny, I'm always curious what kind of food you're making, actually, because it's usually something pretty delicious. Dude, the stew you were making the other day, I can't get over that stuff, to be
Dude, I'm
honest.
telling you, you're going to have to get you and your wife out here. You know what I mean? We're like a 10-minute walk from the beach. We got, several bedrooms. It's going to be a good time.
That sounds really nice.
Yeah, dude.
I'm
20 minutes
I'm gonna figure it out.
from the boat to the minor islands, where it's even cheaper. Crystal clear water. Looks like Bogota, but it's not. I'm telling you.
Dude, and then the food too. I bet.
Yeah, man.
How's the street food there?
Street food's good. I always say,
What's
it's
the
good
best
whenever
food? What's the best food?
the best food. Probably the baleadas. That's probably like the most popular street food. It's like it ends up being like around $1 US, probably about. And
Nice.
yeah, so let's give a shout out to our sponsors and all of the stuff that we're involved in. So first of all, gotta thank the channel sponsor, CryptoChips.io, which they're awesome. And today we're actually going to be giving away a little care package. And it'll be to somebody that has either the best question or comment during the live stream for our guest, who is Balaji, who is fantastic. He's somebody that I actually was in a blockchain course with, and he's been doing all kinds of cool stuff. So I'm excited to hear all about it. But CryptoChips.io over here, right? And then I am a part of the JPEG Empire Council. So if you see JPEG Empire up here, you should join the Discord. Check out what we're doing. We're building some really awesome things right now, and we're so excited to roll out. So excited to roll out. Now tell us about some stuff you got going on, Burgess.
All right. I just want to give a quick shout out to the Web3 Breakfast. It's a morning show I've been listening to every single morning. I'm on my way to work. The guys are awesome. It's J Chains, Turbo made it, and 74K. They put on an awesome show in the morning. If you want a good laugh and you want to talk about crypto sometimes, you want to talk about life, give them a listen. Might make your day. It makes my day, to be honest. And then I want to give a little shout out to my goons. If you haven't bought a goon, you probably should. Well, if you're into, it just always depends on person. I always tell people, like, it's not financial advice, but they're a really good project. They're on the up and up. They have 3D files. There's a lot you can do with NFT. There's a lot of utility. And then I also want to, this is another thing, not financial advice, but Tomorrow Coin on Solana. Stop buying all these shit meme coins that are getting rugged. Buy a good community coin like Pepe, but buy something that's low market cap, so you're going to make a lot of money. And that's Tomorrow Coin. Not financial advice.
No financial advice. Do your own research. Oh, and then the last thing that I have over here is I forgot to mention there's a QR code for MEXC. It has some of the lowest trading fees just in crypto. So if you're into trading and you're interested in that, make an account on WebC. If you use that code, I think I get like $5. I would appreciate it if you did. Not financial advice. Definitely don't do it if you're not comfortable trading. But if you're already going to make a trading account, might as well.
That's true.
Make one. My QR.
Speaking of trading, I'm very excited. To be honest, I just joined an alpha group lately.
Mhm.
AJ writes crypto. Hit him up if you want a good cheap.
No, I saw that.
Cheap. Yeah, hit him up if you want a good affordable alpha group in Telegram. I literally placed a trade at 25x leverage the other day. Hit it perfect, right on the numbers. Just following exactly the kind of things he says. Perfect.
But it's a good place to learn, right?
And I don't know anything. It's the best place to learn. He literally writes out word for word exactly what you're supposed to be looking for, exactly how things read out when you're looking at a chart, everything. It's well worth the money if you're super into trading. So,
oh man, we already got the first. How did I know?
Comment.
Right? I knew this was coming. Yes, I do.
He's a boss now. He's a boss now. Okay, I think it's time to bring out a per guest. It's been way too long. We're taking way too long.
No. We did it way longer.
We did. Anyways, without further ado, our guest.
Balaji.
Balaji. Why did?
Hey guys.
How did I mess that up? That was me. There we go. How are you doing?
All right. I'm doing great. Thanks for bringing me on, John. And nice to meet you, Burgess. All your food talk is making me hungry, and I just had my dinner. I was about to go ahead and grab some chips. So yeah, excited to be here.
Dude, that's fantastic. And that rolls us into the first question that I generally like to ask. So if you're going anywhere in the whole world to eat anything, what is Balaji gonna eat? What are you eating? Someone else is paying, right? You can order anything. Where do you get?
Well, I think in my past 25 years, I think I've been pretty much to every type of cuisine. I think one thing I love, especially because I'm in Southern California, is Mexican food, right? So absolutely love to have any type of Mexican food for that matter. Yeah.
Nice. I was hoping that you were going to say birria tacos, because I was specifically the other day, I think, what somebody
they serve. I'm a vegetarian, unfortunately, but they serve it in a restaurant here called Fuego. I heard it's pretty good.
Oh, that's amazing. You're a vegetarian. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So we jumping in the two power questions first. The other one. Okay. So we always ask this one because John's a movie buff, and he sometimes judges people. But that's besides the fact. What is your favorite movie? Pretty straightforward, easy.
I think in the recent time, Glass Onion, especially I love the scene where they talk about the disruptors. Fantastic scene. I mean, Glass Onion, I would pick that one.
Glass Onion. Oh, that was an awesome one. I did see that. That was amazing.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I have no idea what movie that is or what it's about or anything.
Give us a synopsis.
Oh, the Glass Onion is basically a sort of a mystery, unwinding the mystery type of Sherlock Holmesy type of a movie. But it's fun. It's because it's satirical in many ways of all the things that are happening, and especially they weave the tech and the Hollywood. It's amazing. I would like you to go watch it to feel the Hollywood take on the latest things that's happening around the world in a movie form. I think they did a really good job.
All right, I'm gonna get a link from one of you after the show because I'm really interested. Because I love movies
right now
on Netflix, and it sounds like a movie that's gonna make me think, and I'm all about it. So send it my way, please.
Yeah, I got you. Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
All right. So, Balaji, tell us about your background. What are you doing in Southern California? What is your experience? What are things going on? in your
Absolutely. My background, I'm an engineer. I graduated as an electrical engineer, but I wanted to do computers, so I jumped right into it out of college, right? And then I started working. Much of my career I spent in the startup space, in the SMB, small medium business space, especially in telecom, multimedia, and with respect to the specialty, it's the real-time nature of live streaming, so to speak, right? Audio and video streaming. But I'm also, in the recent past, invested in learning more and more about the AI. I'm an AI enthusiast. I actively dig every GitHub repository if I can. Furiously doing that for the last 18 months, and had a short stay at the Wharton online course with John, learning about blockchain, because I am very interested in the technology aspect of blockchain and how it has this transformative power for the communities, especially with the money flow side of things. So that's pretty much my journey, and more recently I'm trying to figure how they blend into each other, and there is so many ways AI and crypto marry the technologies. So fascinating.
Yes, some people say that AI is the solve all, fix all of blockchain. Like that will end the trilemma. That will be, what do you call it, John?
The singularity, like
the
blockchain.
Singularity. Yes, the
That
blockchain singularity. Yes, the single moment. Like AI is going to be the solution to it all. It's going to bring it all together. And what's your opinion on that?
Well, let me put it this way, in a subtle way, right? People tend to overestimate short term, underestimate long term. So we are still in a hype cycle. So essentially, I would take those type of comments with a grain of salt. It has a lot of potential, a lot of power, but it's still very beginning stages to call it that, right? So that's where I would leave you guys thinking with respect to that. It's to call it a singularity is overestimating right now.
But do you think long term that's still, you don't think that there's going to be like a large impression on the whole expanse of humanity once we get like that part tied up to everything that we're doing, you know?
I think my personal take is, I think there's two things when it comes to AI, right? Like fast thinking and slow thinking, you call it. Fast thinking, humans mimic things like instant fight or flight type of a response. You don't do deeper thinking. It's an involuntary thing, right? The AI today is much like that. It mimics people. It has no intelligence behind it, right?
It increases automation, It
increases automation.
Exactly.
Saves time, right? It saves you time. It augments your capability. It makes you look better, right? To talk about actual AGI or generalized intelligence type of thing is too premature. I mean, we don't understand many aspects of these things, and we are working with correlation and not causation type of a system. So a lot of these things are getting discovered, and we'll see how this goes. But I say this, right? The single best thing that they have done so far with the quantum computer. Some technologies, I don't know whether humans will get to experience it, because once you have a quantum computer, it breaks everything. So why would you ever, average person will get access to that thing, right? So extreme version of it is it'll be shut down before it gets there.
What's it called? The one that they're trying to produce right now, it's the tiny box, right? Are you familiar with that, or something like that along those lines? It's like a quantum computer for your house. I'm pretty sure it's like a AI. Like if you have a question, you go up and you ask it, and it will give you an answer. It will give you an answer to anything you want or whatever. That's what they're trying to create, pretty much.
Gotcha. Interesting. Again, I myself personally am involved in a nonprofit organization trying to create a personal AI, right? I think recently another thing that's showing up is with all these AI stuff going on, transparency is an issue, right? Much of what is handed over to us is what the big guys made behind the scenes, and they distributed it as open source. it does not keep you as an individual in the center. Much like what started the crypto, right? The same thing happens to your personal data. So I think it's going to change the dynamics. I think that's where I see crypto coming into the AI space on the tech side, right? It's not the AI going into crypto, that's one way, but crypto coming into the AI is another way to look at it when it comes to your personal data.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
No, you go ahead, John.
No, I was just going to say, some people claim that OpenAI and Microsoft have already created that AGI. Like, do you think that they've already gotten to that level privately, or do you believe that we're still likely a long way off?
Well, I think personally, first of all, everybody in the industry has to agree on what AGI is, right? So that's the big question. Like, it's the game being played right now is whoever gets to define it first, it's their AGI, right? So I don't think in a true sense of AGI, people or anybody understands what it is to put it together, right? But in the meantime, you get to define the rules of the game, and whoever gets to define it first and show something, that's AGI in a sort of a way, right? So we have to see, right? If people have access to the AGI, whether that comes to the public it's a government interfering issue, right? It's not like something that immediately shows up out of nowhere. If they do have that, why are they doing GPT-4, 5, 6, 7, right? Well, they're version controlling their GPTs. So I think is you don't have it. You just have to make it, or you have to fake it till you make it. That's how I would put it.
That's funny. I've never heard that perspective. So it's definitely a lot more hype, in your opinion.
It is that we are still in a hype cycle, no doubt about it. People are running after this news cycle. You see what happened with the Google Gemini, right? A major.
That was bad.
It was bad. You're under pressure to release something, right? You have to release. You have to continue releasing something.
Can I listen? Quick thing. So on the team that I'm on, right, we have a member, Desert Crypto, who's one of the councilmen. So we kept trying to make this AI image, right? So I'm black and the other two council members are white, right? We are our team. And so we were trying to make an image that had that mixture, you know, two white guys and then one black guy. And then it wouldn't do it. Every single time we
was it saying you're racist?
I'm saying like the Gemini, what was it, Mid-Journey, they kept getting more and more diverse as every time.
You guys got the one though, right?
We got the one. Yeah.
The one?
Yeah, we got the one out of like 50, which was kind of just a funny side story. He was like, "Man, I'm even telling it what we want, and it will not get it."
Did you know descriptive words are racist as well? Everything. What the fuck?
Anyway. But yeah, I just thought that was funny. Let's see. So, I guess Burgess, is there anywhere that you're trying to go right now, or that you have
anywhere that I'm trying to go? I want to know his opinion. We were talking a little bit about it, but you said you most got involved in a blockchain around the bear market with Ocean, Fetch AI,
and AGIX.
Can you give it? AGIX. Did you say that? Yeah, sorry. My apologies. But can you give a little background on like what got you interested in that, and like what solutions do you think?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
You know.
Yeah, I think one of the things that got me interested in some of the projects during the bear cycle is because I think the opinion around that time was this is time for the builders, right? Because it's going through its cycle, and people who are building are very focused on building. And we started looking at some of the projects, and these three were definitely, this was last March, April timeframe. I think Fetch is a multi-agent type of AI system. AGIX, if I remember correctly, is a single agent, but it's a DEX. It's a marketplace for these things. And then Ocean is a marketplace for data, right? That you have recently seen I'm sure you have seen the Salesforce advertisement, right? Data is your new gold, right? Or the terminology, it's the data stupid, right? So at the end of the day, it's going to be data, right? But it'll come later, because I think right now people are visualizing what cool features AI offer, but I think much of the information has to be derived and transformed from the data. So all these three projects are very interesting for me, because you need to, you can see the latest NVIDIA, if you got a glimpse of NVIDIA keynote, the tech conference, it's slowly becoming in a technology space, it's a microservice or agent based. Agents are talking to other agents, trying to create this autonomous systems that can do certain things for you. So it makes total sense to build economies around it.
Interesting.
For sure.
So you had mentioned that you and the company or the group that you're working with, that you're trying to create an AI agent, or like a personalized AI agent. Can you tell me why, and like what problems that will solve? Like what makes that that you think may be a better way of attacking that, I guess, like the progression of technology? Yeah.
Absolutely. I think one of the key problems that exist, and the goal of this mission to tackle is that AI is kind of has a shortcoming in a few areas. One, which, like you mentioned, the bias, right? The data that is getting trained is not being transparently published. So in some cases, they don't even know where they picked up a pile of data and fed it to the system to come up with this knowledge, right? Or in other cases, they won't tell you what they fed it. And you see the side effect when someone queries it in such a way and they find out it's racist or it's biased towards certain communities. So this problem exists where much of the training that's being done is by the big organization at a huge expense, right? Like millions of dollars is spent to create the system, and then they open source it. So in many ways, people, when they say open source, they understand it's open source. It's not, because much of AI that's handed over to us today by the big guys like Meta or OpenAI, whatever version flavor that floats around, is trained with certain amount of data, and that version is handed out, and people are further refining and refining. What's the problem? The problem is the original bias can be diluted, but it'll never go away. These systems don't have capability to forget. Once you trained it, it's etched in the memory of these systems, right? They call it a black box. So how do we address this problem, right? The goal of this nonprofit called Quai, it's Quai.ai, by the way, is to democratize this AI. So let's go find a better way to do this. Let's get the data transparent. Let's get some policies around how the data should be used. How can we create systems that negotiate a personal information? Like, for example, you have Netflix preferences, right? And then you want to share it with some other system. What kind of a contract you establish between that system and you as a person? How long can they use it? How can they use it? Is it a one-time transaction? A lot of this, you might, in the crypto space, it sounds like a smart contract, but
Yeah.
a lot of these apply to your personal data.
One thing I hate about personal data, to be honest, is I hate how we really, I mean, I feel like we probably sign them away in terms and conditions that we don't read, but we like literally like just pass around data like it's nobody's business. Like, and Visa does it like the worst, and just that's why you get emails about things, and it's the most disgusting thing ever, in my opinion. I feel like there needs to be like a sort of like regulation almost. You know what I mean? Like that's what I think of when you're talking about what you were talking about. Like, it needs to be regulated. Like, and maybe you're saying you can take AI to efficiently regulate that amount of information.
Right. Imagine turning let's go a little back in time, right? A lot of our data is mined with or without your permission, right? The one without your permission, the big guys did it, and there are a lot of cases like that. But the one with your permission, we do it. We are, I think, as an average citizen, we are guilty of it, because we trade data primarily for convenience or for subsidized product. Basically, you agree to trade your data for getting a web service or whatever you're buying for cheap, because that's how they are able to subsidize. Otherwise, the cost for them would be through the roof. So these are the three different buckets it falls under, right? Either without your permission, they sneakily take it away, right? Or you do it because it's convenient and you don't want to go through all the extra work. You just trade it and be done with it. Or it is for the price, right? And the question now we are asking ourselves with the AI is that it's now getting personal, because it's not just your identity theft of a social security number anymore. The risk here is the AI can take away your personality. It can take away your voice. It can take away your characters and skill, right? And there's a lot to think about when you think about AI and trading your data like you did before, right? It just cannot be fathomed. Like, it's not acceptable anymore.
What's your opinion on that, John? Do you know much about like data, like the selling of your data around the world, and like how massive of a like business it is or industry it is actually?
So yeah, so I previously worked for a med tech company, and I actually talked to Balaji, I think, about this idea that I had about basically creating a software that would protect somebody's privacy while also being able to like have the data information and sell that, right? Or have it be used for like decentralized science or something like that. And there is a huge market for it, like 23andMe, and then like I think there was another like data, like DNA company that was like bought by BlackRock or by like a venture capitalist company. And then all of these people were outraged. They're like, well, what are they going to do with our genetic information? And like the thing is that who knows? They bought it, it's theirs, you gave it away, you paid them to give your information away. And so like recently there was the TikTok ban, which I thought was so interesting, because in the first iteration it was frightening to me, because they also implemented like all kinds of restrictions against using a VPN. There was going to be like legal trouble for using a VPN, which is dangerous. That means that they can prevent us from accessing information outside of the approval of the government, and that was frightening. But the thought there was that TikTok is stealing all of our information, right? But the thing is that we're giving up to them. And so if TikTok gets kicked out, then we still got Twitter, we still have Facebook, we still have all these other people that we're giving our information to. We have Instagram. Literally, like, you go to the store, you buy something with your credit card, you know what I'm saying? You're already there. So the whole thing.
Right, John, I think this is a very valid point, what you're bringing, right? I think the key question we should ask, it's always about the ownership and the consent of what you're trading, right? And that's the key here, right? Even with permission, if you give it to someone, with the AI system, there's something called a transfer of knowledge, right? It can take your permission to do this and it can transfer it to some other system without your consent. So there's a lot of these things coming to surface right now that is being debated how to handle and regulate, because you saw what happened with the customer support. The Klarna is a typical use case, right? They basically took their entire support force, customer support people, threw them out. No, they're out of jobs, and they replaced it with AI, right? Mm-hmm. What does this mean? It's starting at the customer support level. What that means is this, right? Employment laws have to change. For example, if you're a customer support person with a unique talking style and skill that keeps the customer, right? What's preventing a bigger company from modeling you and laying you off?
Yeah.
So you just abstracted my skill, and then what? I'm going to go back to the street and learn a new thing. What is this, right? So this is where a lot of these questions are being raised. Earlier, this capability did not exist. But now with AI, you can simulate your voice, you can simulate your style, you can simulate your picture, whatever, right? At the end of the day, just mimicking, think about it, right? It causes this much damage to a person's livelihood, right? And that's why the emphasis is just like in crypto, you guys say, hey, my key, my crypto, it should be my key, my data. Otherwise,
yeah, exactly.
It's a tough world that's going to evolve.
I think about AI with my job. It's crazy. So I do commercial construction, and you think about how blueprints are created with the AutoCAD, and I know Autodesk is working to create AI tools already. Imagine when they have full blueprints of buildings, right? And it's just the architectural prints, because you're not going to have AI build an architectural print because it's an art thing and engineers are like that. But when you have a full building, right, full structure, and you have a program that can like put a full system, electrical, plumbing, steam, HVAC, everything, build everything, it's going to take away everyone's jobs. And basically people that sit on the computer drawing just became data inputters. And then eventually AI is going to get smart enough so you don't need data inputters, and it takes away that job. So the work is definitely going to change in the future for a lot of things. Even they're making construction suits that are having robotic arms that help you lift up pipe and all this stuff already. Like, they're going to make full robots that can just do all construction, and it's going to be insane. It's really going to be insane in the future.
Right. I think that's why the key is to start now, to start thinking about what your data means. It's much more than what it used to be, right? That's why it's the time now to start thinking about all of this, because I think fundamentally certain things have to change, right? Because when you acquire a new skill that's in your brain and you walk out, the skill goes out with you, so you can still make a living somewhere. But it may not be the case. It may not be the case if you don't change certain ownership rights and rules and how these skills are transferred to others for use. I mean, so many questions that come up.
So
okay.
I have
Sorry, John. Wait. I want to say, because we're in the middle of our show and we got about 14 people tuning in, you can comment on YouTube, you can comment on Twitter, you can comment on whatever you're watching. We're doing a giveaway. We're going to be giving away a crypto chips bundle to whatever the best comment is.
Yep. Or question.
Or a question or whatever the heck it is. So, and like the tweet and retweet it, the stream. But someone comment something for our guests about AI crypto, something interesting, so he can speak on it and maybe teach you something, because he's a very intelligent person. Also, I want to give a quick little shout out to Tomorrow Coin. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to the Goons community. Not financial advice, but buy Tomorrow Coin. It's not a rug. Stop buying rugs on Solana. This shit is trash. Get that shit out of here. Buy something that's community based.
So I'm gonna hit you both with the question that I have. Okay, so I'm gonna set like the way that I think about it. But basically, like, when the plow was invented, then a lot of the people whose job it was to work the fields lost their jobs, right? And that was just the advancement in technology. Once they started not needing all that many people, then it decreased the workforce. So, like, in my mind, I see AI as doing something similar, in the sense that when the plow was invented and they started using the plow, then it wasn't that the work went away, it was that the type of work changed. You had to do things that had different value. Instead of you physically being there to do that thing, you now had to do something different. So my question for both of you is that with AI, like, do we see it as like getting rid of all these jobs and taking everything away, or like, is the work just going to change as it has with other advancements in the past? And I guess maybe I'll go to Burgess first, and then we'll let Balaji finish it up.
If I'm going to be honest, I think the time that happens is the time of the singularity, when they have so much automation across the board. Everything's on Internet of Things, AI-based networks that work together. I think at that point, maybe there'll be no reason to do certain things besides repair the systems that are there. So that's where our workforce will really be, is it will be maintenance of systems. And then on top of that, I think you can't completely take away the human aspect of community. So I think there's certain jobs like hospitality, I think you can't take away and make that automated sometimes. Cooking, artistic based jobs, you can't take away. Hairstyling, stuff like that. Beauty and music and stuff like that. That's where I see people really leaning towards in the future. Also, people that trade, trade markets will still be a thing. I feel like money will never be not a constant roller coaster. I feel like, will always be changes in that though. So there'll always be work in the financial markets. Unless there's like end all takeover of everything and we're all on the same network and the world is one. I don't know. I could see that happening one day. Yeah. The new world order could come swoop in and we're all screwed. I don't know. But that's a whole nother story. I'll stop talking.
So what do you think, Balaji?
That's cool. That's a cool perspective. So I'm an optimist by nature. So, and I think as far as I can see, let's say for the next decade, how does it look like, right? I think a consensus is forming. To your example, right? The plow or the horse to the motor car. It's a new industrial revolution, right? That means it's Industrial Revolution 4, where we are starting to see changes appear. This means I think certain jobs certainly will transform itself to something else or be completely given to automation. Remember, much of what AI we see is because of in your word, a singular event that happened in November 2 years ago, right? The ChatGPT. And the reason why it blew up so much is primarily because of one reason, personally, I think, is because now humans can interact in a conversational way. A lot of this AI has been happening behind the scene for multiple decades, right? But why suddenly it blew up, right? It's because of the conversational way of interfacing with these systems. So why I say this is I think we have to look at it from the viewpoint of, okay, yes, it's here, it's taking away certain jobs that are automatable, but it's also going to create changes in the business process. That means new types of jobs are going to evolve because we are going to get rid of old habits and get into newer habits. That creates more jobs. So we are going to be like any other transition period, like the previous dot-com boom. There'll be a transition period. People coming out fresh, they have to retool themselves. People in the industry, they're retooling actively as we speak. I'm retooling myself. So this is going to continue for maybe a year or two. And we come out of the hype cycle, we start producing work with a human in the loop first, because it's a scary situation without a human in the loop anywhere, right? We have to have a human there. The AI has a lot of these promises, but I don't think it's there yet where you can let it run, do stuff by itself. So from that aspect, I think humans will still be controlling a lot of it. It's going to make your job easier in many ways by augmenting your skills. I say this in a funny way, coming to America, right? One change I felt coming from India, I'm from India, by the way, and coming to America, one thing I distinctly felt over 2 decades, a lot of decision making has been passed on to me personally, which is not my core expertise. I don't know whether you all feel the same, but I felt the same. I'm an engineer. I like to do engineering stuff, software engineering, whatever. But not only I have to do that, I have to do my accounting, I have to do my healthcare, I have to do my I have to do everything. I have to be my doctor, I have to be my everything, right? Therapist or whatever. Why does this happen? It's because in the name of subsidizing stuff, things get passed to me for cost savings. AI is going to help everyone in that sense. It's going to free up so much of your decision-making, cognitive overload. Think about it for a second. If that's gone, how much more efficient can you be in what is it that you do the best and enjoy? So I think we are going to have the next decade where we are going to have an exciting time. People are going to have good time because now you got to do what you want to do. What's better than that, right?
Yeah.
After that, I don't know what happens.
I like that perspective. Yeah, you got to think about like humans definitely like plateau and accelerate, and I feel like we're coming off a plateau and into like a little acceleration period with the crypto. I mean, we have been coming up, but I feel like this time around it's really going to be a swift acceleration and integration over the next like 10 years. But after that, we're going to plateau again, and then we're not going to know where we're going, and then we'll go up again. But yeah, you can't predict the future as well as you can.
Well, the key question I have is what are humans going to do with all the extra time they're going to get back? Think about it for a
really
second.
weird. I feel like people are going to get lazy, to be honest. I feel like people are going to get lazy. Yeah.
It's a possibility.
We're going to be like on Wall-E. You know, you guys watch that movie where everyone's just sitting in recliners, just rolling around.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could see it happening.
Yeah. My thing is like, I just think that at a certain point, the only thing else we'll have to do, like, I think we'll master this one planet, and then we'll have to like go elsewhere. I think Elon Musk, you know, people say
maybe we send the bots. We send the bots to Mars. We stay here. I love Earth. No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
But I was gonna say, I definitely think we have to be multiplanetary. If we're not multiplanetary, then long term we can't survive as a species forever here on this planet. So I think that's where we end up going afterwards.
Let's get deep real quick. That kind of makes me think about something like existence. You know, where did we all come from, and what is existence? When you say multiplanetary, sometimes I think like, so I have a certain perspective on like sometimes, like, I don't know, this is just a idea, right? It's not actually what I believe, but it's just idea. So imagine like the universe is just a cell, part of a bigger organism.
Yep.
And this is the depressing part, but humans are actually very similar to virus and cancer. All we do is
cells,
reproduce. Like all we do is reproduce and like basically destroy and consume and spread out over time. What if we're like, as humans as a whole are just like a form of cancer, but a very more complex form to a greater organism? I heard that on Joe Rogan, I think. Kind of like a different perspective, but
that's the exact reason why the agent in the Matrix hates humans, actually. That's his whole thing.
It's a similar thing. Yeah. That shit's crazy.
It's an interesting
what
thought.
Do you guys yeah,
it's interesting thought. I think some of the comments made by Elon in that sense make sense, because like horses, maybe humans population go down as automation increases, right? There is no incentive because I think there's the theory, right? The tougher it gets, the organisms try to live longer, type of, they want to survive more. The easier it gets, the organisms don't do that anymore, right? So it's kind of a different take on things, but maybe that happens. I don't know. Maybe the population goes down.
Like, why do we want to go somewhere else so badly? Like, why don't we just chill? I don't know.
I was going to say, I think that personally, like, one of the biggest differences that I see between humanity and like AI or an AI agent is that the like mortality is a blessing, because then it gives you urgency and like the ability to innovate. Because if you just were, you know, like a vampire that lives forever no matter what, right? Then you would have no reason to do anything because you could do everything. And then at a certain point, you just have nothing else to go on about. I don't know if Balaji, you've seen Doctor Who.
Doctor Who, yeah.
Doctor Who. Okay, so so like it makes me think of like the Dalek. Okay, so the Dalek are like these this like evil civilization of like alien beings. And their whole thing is like that they just like destroy everything, and that they have like no feelings about anything. It kind of reminds me of like how a lot of people have this fear of AI. And so like I think that the reason that the Dalek and like AI ultimately would become that way is because of the lack of mortality, the lack of urgency, the lack of like the immediate moment meaning anything in the grand scheme of things.
See, but I feel like humans already live at that state already in America. I feel like people don't have drive like they used to because there is no urgency, because they don't realize what the rest of the world actually looks like. They're blinded by a lot of things. And until they get out and see it, then they understand, holy shit, maybe I should do something with my life instead of just sit here and want to watch TV and frickin' all this bullshit that we get fed all day. People don't understand. I mean, I know our guest understands. He's from India. I've been
Absolutely
over to that area of the world and rode a train through Thailand. You guys don't know anything about the world. It's insane. We already live at that state. We need to stop. We need to open our eyes and see the rest of the world and see like the conflicts that we're fed are nothing compared to what the real world is like. It's
absolutely. I think one of the greatest thing that's going to happen, this is one of my prediction as well, is that with the AI, I think much of the knowledge accumulation is in English speaking worlds, and with AI single-handedly it has this capacity to redistribute that knowledge to the rest of the world, right? So what does it mean? I think it means people who previously did not have access to information are going to get the information. Now we activate all of those people to participate in the economy. Think how big it's going to become when that happens, right?
It's going to be absolutely amazing.
Huge. We talked about what is the term in crypto, like bankless bankless, right?
Oh yeah.
So we talk about bankless people. This is even bigger. People who have no access to information, right? Leave alone banks, right? Now imagine those people start participating. How many Einsteins are sitting there, right, waiting to be discovered? We don't know.
Yeah, you see those viral videos of kids in the middle of nowhere with 90s, 80s technology, old computers, rigging them up,
right,
wiring them up into these crazy inventions and stuff, and totally figure it out. And they're literally 12 years old. Like, imagine these people have access to the world. Exactly. They're even smarter than all of us. And it's pretty amazing to think about. I like that perspective. Yeah, I like that.
I do like it's an optimistic take when some people, like, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was just on the Lex Friedman podcast a while ago, but he's like terrified of AI. There's a lot of people that are fear mongering a lot of this stuff. I just don't have that.
But that's the human nature, right? What we do not understand, we fear. And then with education, we become aware of what it is, and then we become curious. We start working with it, and eventually it leads to something good. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
You wouldn't personally fear it at all. Like, if you were to give like a 60-40 or, like a scale, what would you put it at? Fear good?
I think I look at it like I said before in terms of cycles, right? So market cycles or technology cycle. I think we are well past the fear stage, right? In the current hype cycle. I don't know what the new hype cycle is going to bring, new technologies or whatever. But for the current one, I think people have already entered the curious phase, right? They are because people are getting actively educated on it, and they're getting curious. What can I do? What can this do for me, right? And that's why I say within a couple of years, it's going to become productive, right? Because now people are actively playing with it. But in the longer run, like I said, one of my main things I was doing for last 16 to 18 months is that separating the signal from the noise. There is so much media floating around in the Twitter or any other space out there. Those are one-hit wonders or sparks of brilliance or whatever it is. None of those are reproducible, right? A lot of these are influencer-led material. Here we are in America, we are saying, hey, this election, it's going to be crazy because there's so much media floating around. Who knows what created it, right? So the same thing happens in AI too. So not everything you see you should believe. You should be skeptical, right? You should evaluate, figure it out. So I think much of the fear comes from that kind of material, not necessarily the underlying. But yes, granted, there's few people with too much power, right? I think that the system will sort itself out to create a more democratic process is what I believe, right? I think when that happens, when the governments of the world interfere and make sure it is democratic, I think it's a workable thing. And yes, if it's too few having too much power, it's always a scary situation.
For sure.
Think the governments of the world are going to make things democratic, like to ensure that like true fairness?
I think Europe is already ahead of America, right? They already have a regulation that they're passing for AI. I think America is still behind in some of these aspects to actually. I personally don't want the same thing that happened to the blockchain world happen to AI, because this is not just money. We have to act fast and make sure this is all done right? Like I said, if it's just money, it's one thing. But if it's your personal being that's getting affected, it's a whole different ballgame right now.
I just got to give a reminder to all the people who are watching. We're trying to give you some free stuff. So if you have a question about AI, please ask us in the comments. You can comment on YouTube. You can comment on Twitter. Let us know.
But we can also run it on the retweet and like of the post.
We can. But
Yeah,
it's way more interesting if you're asking questions. Come on, guys.
Yeah, we got 36 people watching.
We know you're watching.
Yeah. I really love that take. I think that's a fantastic take on AI and everything. My whole thing, I was just going to say that if you happen to be able to make like a Nancy Pelosi AI agent, I want her to manage my finances and to do all my trading for me. So that way, I won't have to worry about anything.
See, I think that aspect is pretty cool about the AI. I know with like Pal AI, they're building with a bunch of people, and they're building bots for Telegram and other chat bots as well. But they're talking. I've been in some spaces, and there's been talk of building someone's personality, like a trader's personality. So you can ask them a question and they'll be able to give you a response as like what they think the smart trade would be or like the smart decision would be. And I think that's a pretty interesting development and all. And I think that actually has like a really big future place as like a selling point. It's a monetization tool, and I think that's pretty cool. Do you have any opinions on that, or have you heard about that?
Absolutely. I think that falls under the general category of what we want to do with our accumulated knowledge. I think this exists in many different ways, but you accurately portrayed it in one way you can describe it, right? For example, I'm close to 50. I have accumulated knowledge, and I want to make that knowledge work for me 24/7. This is why personal AI comes into play, right? So what if you put that in a little mini me and let it run at some cost, and you are 24/7, right? So the experts are few in this world, and their time is valuable, and not everybody has access to that expert. Now suddenly this expert is available to everybody, and that person is happy, everybody's happy. Now you get to share and monetize, right? And that's a good thing, right? Because in many ways, your knowledge is being rendered useful because it's accessible. That's what happens when you are an expert. Everybody is in a line, and they don't have access to you, right? Well, what are you going to do with all that? It's only select few with the money that get it, right? Mm-hmm. And it may not be the case. And it applies to a variety of skills, right? And people are realizing that. From chatbot that goes on your website 24/7 now, right? I can call my website 24/7, right? Because I have put my FAQs in a chatbot, and it answers everything like a person would, right? Yeah. Now our website. So a small business running 6 hours manual store is 24/7 now.
Yeah, I think it's going to be genius, to be honest. I already see how it applies. Like for me, I'm trying to learn how to trade right now, and if you have someone that has a lot of people with questions and you can funnel them all into one bot that can answer a wide range of questions directly, exactly how you want to explain it, and you're really thorough in your answers, you can create a library of answers, and it could be an an absolute monster of a product you could sell to people. And it's super exciting to think about, like, people are going to be coming out with them, and it's going to be something that's happening.
100%. I think the extreme version of it is the Hollywood personalities digitizing themselves, right? At a cost, right? Now, it's not just your thoughts, it's now your mannerisms, your way you say things, everything, right?
It's your internet personality.
Exactly. This is why it's important, right? Now, the laws have to change. How that gets traded and exchanged, and royalties are getting passed, and all kind of stuff. You saw the Hollywood. One of the funny things that happened, I don't know whether you guys picked it up, is that when AI deepfakes started showing up, Hollywood actors realized that they did not put a block on their voices. So their voices were getting stolen, and they couldn't do anything about it, right? They put contracts are very tight with respect to their appearance and whatever acting, right? But not the voice. It's funny, but that's what happened, right? Now you have to cover everything that you didn't cover before, right? So because anything and everything can be digitized.
Yeah. And I can't remember what it was. Like, I almost feel like it was a Black Mirror episode, but I'm not even sure if there were newer episodes about that, or maybe it was even a commercial against AI.
It's a Black Mirror episode. I saw one. That was a very good one.
Yeah, where like they literally
that's one of my favorite shows,
and use it not in the way that you'd want it used, I guess.
That's the key, not in the way you wanted it to be, right? That's your ownership and consent issue. This is uniquely present at this point in time.
So how do you feel about the opinion of the privatization versus open source of AI? Do you think it should be open source for everyone? Do you think the open sourceness will balance out because there's more good people in the world than bad people? Or do you think the bad people are too powerful and we need to monitor it?
I think there are two aspects of this, right? And like any new technology that's powerful, you always fear the bad actors and the good actors. And I think somehow humanity has figured a way to survive this long, right? Every invention carried the same problem, right? That we'll let that sort itself out in a collective conscious way, right? Humans as a group of people, they'll figure it out, right? But the other aspect, the open source or the closed source, I think we are going to see, it's almost like every 3 months things are changing. I think the phase where larger the better, right? Large language models, larger the better. That concept is going to be adopted by people who want the world knowledge. But there is a growing set of sentiment that you don't need large models to do everything AI wants you to do. What does that mean, right? Can we make it small enough to fit my domain knowledge, to a little bit of conversational skills, to make it run in a leaner, greener, efficient way? Right? When that happens, it's already democratizing itself. It's not like sitting in one big, huge place where you have to hoard up NVIDIA GPUs to make this happen, right? That's what it is right now. But the next phase is going to be, it's going to move to the edge. It's going to move into your handset. Samsung is a good example. I think they have a Galaxy AI, right? It's moved into the edge.
They're using Gemini also on.
Right. So
I love it.
So it's going to move to the edge. Where once it moves to the edge, then it becomes much more accessible, and competition will start, right? I don't think there's a fear of monopolization. I think there's actively this is happening, and I think that'll pave the way in that sense.
Hell yeah!
I love it. It's so exciting. It's so exciting.
It's going to be exciting times. I think it's next 10 years. So much so, I had to jump out of my chair. It's like, great. Next 10 years, it's going to be fun times, right? As a technologist, nothing excites me more than all these kind of improvements, right?
It's super funny. Looking at like my whole lifespan, which isn't super long, but I remember coming out of the internet boom and knowing that a bunch of people made a bunch of money. So all through my life, I just have been looking for the next time that there's a next wave of an internet boom or something that happens significant in human, like, human culture that's going to make a lot of money. We're right there. We're like, I'm a little bit late, realistically, but at the same time, I'm not, because they're going to be expanding on like everything now. And it's so exciting to think about. Like, it's going to be endless possibilities and endless advancements, and Everything's
This is our
gonna change.
fucking Amazon moment. This is our .com
Yeah.
moment.
It's our .com moment for my generation. You know.
It's a bittersweet moment, right? It's transformational so much so that your kids may not even understand what you meant by some type of a keyboard or interface, right? Or whatever. The grandchildren will be like, "What are you talking?"
Yeah, they'll be like,
about?
"What's a mouse?"
What's a keyboard?
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's a mouse?
Like,
What's a keyboard?
That's just how everything's been the whole way. What are you talking
What do
about?
you mean you had to save information onto a physical object?
We have
What
a
do you mean,
generation
a
of
laptop.
We're still gonna
Yeah.
remember floppy disks and shit.
Exactly.
We're like literally plastic. We put plastic in the box. My kids think I'm crazy. That's so funny.
Yeah. Oh darn, you got me. No, we love G Blades. So G Blades is awesome. JPEG Empire community,
Yeah,
fantastic.
shouts out to him.
Yep.
I just had a kid a year ago, so I'm curious how much it advances in the time that he kind of realizes how the world works, how he's going to be with it all. You know, I'm curious how much it changes.
I know we already have a generation of iPad babies, right? They don't know anything about anything before iPad, right? It's going to be fast, and the change is happening, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they see the world, right?
Yeah,
How they
me and my wife have talked about that at home. Like, we're really strong on thinking like we can't be putting him in front of a screen and just walking away. We can't be those parents. We got to actually give him something of substance so he learns and finds some way in life instead of just being screen. But I heard that they're teaching kids on iPads now in schools, and like they're not teaching cursive anymore. They're not teaching like writing skills.
I was the last group to learn cursive in my school.
I'm really confused. I'm really confused by that, because like using your hands and everything else, like your full body it all works together. And I feel like you're taking away that sensory part of people when you're just putting the screen in front of them. They're just touching glass and they're not getting a full interaction. There's something about when you take a note, you remember something when you write it versus when you're typing it. I guarantee someone that writes notes remembers something better than you typing it. It doesn't matter. But it just doesn't make sense to me. It confuses me. It's like they're trying to brainwash people almost.
They also didn't teach us analog clocks. I was the last year to learn analog clocks. So every
Really?
year yeah.
I totally learned analog clocks.
Well, I mean, I learned it, but then after my year, there was
That's
no
crazy.
more of that.
What if they're not preparing people for the fact that if everything stops working,
they're never going to know how to use a sundial. This is atrocious. But
right.
So
we're
up
here
here
on the hour. Perspective,
yeah.
We're up here on the hour. This has been a fantastic talk, Balaji. Like, thank you so much for coming on, and also,
thanks.
So, on Twitter, if you follow at JPEG Empire and myself, on Friday, which is tomorrow, I believe, I'll actually be talking to Ian McKee from our class.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's nice.
And we'll be talking about his new project he's got going on. And
that'll be awesome. Yeah,
that's gonna be exciting.
Thank you guys so much for coming out, everybody that's watched us tonight. This has been fantastic. We had a lot of fun, learned a lot about AI, and talked about AGI, and dude, so great.
Thanks for having me. This is exciting times. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate your time.
Do it again. I want to have you on sometime whenever I want to have here Decentralized Science, DeSci World. I want to have their founder here too. So that way you can both talk about their new thing that they're doing with proof of knowledge and AI.
That would be amazing.
Context,
absolutely. Textual cells. Oh yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, can we get that going?
Proof is going to be huge for AI.
Can we actually get that going so we have both of them here to talk?
No, that's what I'm shooting for.
Yes, let's book it. Let's book it and get that going. These type of spaces are so much fun to me. I feel like I've learned so much talking to you.
Thank you so much for coming on.
All right, people. Thank you.
Thank
you.
Have
a good night.
All right, bye.
Man, So there we go, dude. What a great talk. That was fantastic.
Shouts out to Seji. Thanks for watching, Chezzy. I got cotton mouth.
Well, okay,
Yes,
so listen.
I gotta say your name right.
I'm gonna say this, and I think I'm gonna get your. Well, yeah, Seji. But
Yeah,
so
I just had to.
looking at the comments, dude, I just think that there's no way that like G Blades doesn't win.
Doesn't what?
Doesn't win.
Doesn't. It's a very good chance. There's many comments.
Yeah, I love it.
He's trying to win. I mean, he shows out every time too. I see him.
No, he's fantastic. We love him.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you to everyone that came out to watch the show. Yeah, winner. Thank you, as usual, to everyone that came out and watched the show. John, do you have any special words to tell our fans before we leave? Because we have a whole weekend ahead of us, and they don't get to see us till Tuesday. You know,
yeah.
We don't work every day of the week. You know, so
yeah. So on Tuesday, I believe we're going to be on with Rich Flair.
Hell
and
yeah!
So we're going to be
super exciting.
Algorand stuff.
Yes, sir.
And dude, they're building some cool stuff over there. You know,
they are.
People like Algorand. I like Algorand. Honestly, that was one of my biggest hits last market cycle. I was buying Algorand and people were like, what are you doing? And then one day I saw that they were doing something in El Salvador, and then the price went to like $1.50. And I was like, I'm gonna sell $1.50. I'm not gonna hate myself for that. And then, you know, made a little bag.
Hell yeah. I'm all about Algorand. Freaking all I do is just sit there in my Para wallet and look for freaking trades to make more Algorand. And then the bull run isn't even here yet, and it's not even at the price it's gonna be at.
Yeah, we got to get the founder of Buttcoin over here. Seji's a big fan of them. I'm a big fan of them too. We play poker at Womp Crew all the time. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We got some cool stuff going on over there.
Butts to the moon. Fun fact about Butts. I also am this is someone I'm gonna reach out to. I haven't reached out to yet, but he's another person I bought into. I have one of his NFTs and his NFDs. But THC, have you guys seen the high community?
Yeah.
I have like one.
Algo buddy.
Yeah, he's another. Yeah. So I'm gonna I've been slacking. I'm gonna do it this weekend, but I've just been tired and busy, and family life has been crazy lately. But I'm gonna be reaching out to a bunch of Algorand projects, and scheduling a bunch of them, because in my mind, Algorand is the future of blockchain. There's gonna be a place for Algorand. If you've ever used it, you understand why it's so good. It never fails. It's so freaking cheap. It's literally so cheap, and it's fast as hell. Yeah. It's secure. It's literally it solves the trilemma. It's one of those things. You
can't say that.
I know you can't, but that's what they say. And you can freaking code on Python with it now. If you don't know that, everyone can freaking build on there now. So you guys better watch out. Literally, it's fast as hell, cheap as hell, and everyone can build on it now. And the bull run's coming. I don't know. I think that's a pretty good investment to me.
Not financial advice, do your own research.
Not financial advice ever. We don't have to say it a billion times. We can say it one time and then say anything we want. You know. Okay. But yes.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
And we'll see you on Tuesday.
Tuesday. Peace.